All right, welcome to this week's Food Sports Central, the podcast of the World Food Championships. And man, I am your host, Mark Conway. I am literally still trying to put my feet back on the ground from the last few weeks because we had final table, which was 4 intense days that really just kind of bottlenecked into 2 just crazy days. And then I literally just got back from seeing some of our WFC competitors out at Memphis in May, in Memphis, Tennessee. So I'm finally behind the desk again, finally getting back to normal routines and bringing you the most up-to-date information in the world of food sport by way of Food Sports Central. Mike McLeod is still in fast-paced mode. He is traveling from location to location, building food sport around the country, talking to people around the world, all getting ready for the 10th anniversary event that will be in November. And if you follow social media for the World Food Championships, you've seen the calendars have come out. You've seen all kinds of information hit, and you realize just how close we really are to November. So what I wanted to do, now that we're back we've had a little time to reflect after final table, I wanted to talk to the winner and bring the winner to you because it was a hard-fought competition between the top 10. It was full of every range of emotion, from joy and excitement to sadness and loss. It was everything you would expect the Grand Championship to be. And when it started at 10, it became 1, and that winner is our guest today, Mr. World Food Champion, Preston Nguyen. How are you, sir?
Doing well. How are you?
I'm good. I'm a little jet-lagged and tired and still unpacking bags and boxes, but I can imagine you have probably double that kind of head miles right now with interviews and excitement all around and still grasping yourself, pulling off a massive win in your first year competing in the World Food Championships. So, it really begs the question, how are you doing since then?
Yeah, it's been absolutely crazy being able to see all these new opportunities. Doors are opening everywhere, and I've been getting a lot of interviews for the news and for different articles, both locally and statewide. And so it's been a blast being able to experience all these new things at such a young age.
And not just such a young age, but just you're in culinary school. You are really starting to hone your craft. You're starting to really get the feel for what your style of food is, what your style of cooking is, where you are precision-based. Are you more by your feels? Are you more by the numbers? And to go through not only win a qualifier very short time before WFC this past November, but go to WFC, win the hotly contested chef division that had celebrity chefs in it, longtime executive chefs, then to go to Lake Murray Country, South Carolina, and compete against the top other 9 competitors that won their categories back in November. And really to just hit the mark step after step after step, leading to winning with your final dish. You really have started to put your own foothold on not only the food sport world, but just the food world while you're still developing as a chef. It's kind of incredible what you've done so far.
Oh, wait, sorry. Oh, sorry. Was that a question? Oh, sorry.
Yeah, don't worry. I can edit all this out. Don't worry about it. I was talking about, basically that you're still at the very, 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 very beginning of launching a career in food. And you're still in culinary school. You're still training. You're still finding your culinary voice. And, with having been so early in your career to have such big accolades, kind of where does that put you right now as you look at your career going forward?
Okay. Yeah, it's definitely weird feeling. Like I turn around and I'm still in culinary school. Like I just finished all my finals and turned everything in. And then it's like I'm over here in the major like competition circuit, like taking the World Food Championship title and having all these new opportunities. I'm like, where do I lie in this, like, I guess, field of culinary right now? Because I'm kind of in the deep end in one side, but just now dipping my toes into the culinary school side of things.
You really are. And, you had such finesse. You had great sous chefs. Mom and dad were your sous chefs. Fantastic sous chefs who really, in their own right, are phenomenal competitors. So you had a great team. And that's, whether it's the Super Bowl or the World Series, it's about a great team all the way through. But you could have great individual players. And we've seen this in professional sports. A team full of all-stars, but they can't cohesively work together. The three of you are all-stars that work even better together. How was that, of the three of you, kind of going from planning to execution at Final Table?
Yeah, it's definitely about team chemistry. Like you said, like if a team is stacked on full of all stars, but they don't have good team chemistry, it's going to fall apart. And so with us working together for so many years, and knowing like how we all operate and how we can all excel, we just like to build off of each other and help each other succeed until the end. And so it was like an honor being able to cook with my parents as my sous chefs in this competition. And it really brought us all closer together because we spent extra time at home practicing together, and figuring out like what can we change about our recipes and how can we improve. And so it was just a really big family bonding experience.
I could see that. Everybody there could see that, and it's fun because they got to see kind of before, and then as you were named the World Food Champion, you saw the bookends of super proud parents, but in the middle, you saw fierce competitors and teammates. So it was pretty amazing to watch that. And as you guys created your three dishes, walk us through each round. This first round was the biscuit.
Yes.
The second round was catch and cook. And then the third round was quail. So walk us through what your three dishes were.
Yeah. So for the first round, we had a peach stuffed pork chop. And then we had our shrimp and grits that was topped with crab as well. And it was with a crispy potato that was seasoned with Old Bay. And then we had, sorry, I got to look up a photo of it. There's so many different aspects on it. Alrighty. Oh my goodness, there's so many photos. Alrighty. Almost there. Alrighty. Alright, I'll start over. Okay. Yeah, so for our first round, we had a peach stuffed pork chop, and our grits were shrimp and grits with a crispy Old Bay potato that was also topped with crab. And then for dessert, we had a peach shortcake that had a peach butter, and it was topped with a peach chutney. And then we also had peach smoked greens that had watermelon radishes that were cold smoked and infused with a peach liquor.
Yeah, that was huge. Everybody loved it. They were thrilled because the two infusion ingredients were the grits and the peaches. So you guys really showed multiple ways on a plate to be able to do that. Then that took you from top 10. Then that broke everybody down into the top 5. And you made it into the second round, which was catch and cook. So what did you guys do there?
Yeah, so for the second round, we did a pan sauteed striped bass. And we made a blend of our own hot sauce, and we put it in a pipette to serve it with the judges, because you got to have a bottle of hot sauce when you're serving fish. And then we did turnips two ways. We took the actual main veggie part of it, and we turned it into a puree. And then we took the leafy greens, and we fried it to make it like a nice garnish with a little bit of crunch to it. And then we also made a South Carolina red rice for kind of like that starchiness. And then for dessert, we made a South Carolina Chewy.
And now what is this, for those who don't know, what is a South Carolina Chewy?
Yeah. I would say the closest thing would probably be like a blondie or It looks like a blondie, but it's more on the brownie side of things.
Very cool. And the judges loved it. I got to be in there when the judges were deliberating and talking. They had a blast with it. They loved it. And that took you from the top 5 down to the final 3. You made it through into the final 3, which puts you into that last cook, which was quail. And that is a very, at times, difficult protein to work with. A lot of people get that wrong. It is such a small margin for error with quail because it's very small. I mean, it's a very tiny protein. So you can really, really overcook it or even undercook it because of being worried about its size. So what did you do for your championship winning dish?
So we did quail 3 ways. We try to utilize Manchester's products as much as possible. So for the main central component, we did a fried quail lollipop. So like we took the drumstick and we, what is the term? Frenched it. And then we fried it up after seasoning it and breading it. And then for the second quail method, we did a quail and dumpling. And so we made gnocchi, like a potato gnocchi from scratch, sauteed it with some champagne, mixed in the quail. And then we also did deviled quail eggs for our third method. And we fried up some prosciutto, stuck it in as like that crispy garnish, added a few herbs, and kind of garnished it around the plate to try to make it look like that, I guess, like small garden feel, because we wanted to like elevate the quail with it. And then our side dish was a Hoppin' John rice that had black-eyed peas in it. We also had a South Carolina boiled peanut caviar. And then for dessert, we had a Good Time cornbread cake with peach butter.
And I love that you called it a Good Time cornbread cake. What made you call it that? Because that was such a great name. The judges even got a chuckle. What kind of was the thought process behind that?
Yeah, so when we were planning that we wanted to do a thyme-infused cornbread, I made a time pun, and then we started like bouncing it off each other. And we're like, wait, maybe let's call it something like that. And so then we came up with Good Time cornbread to kind of fit in with the dish name, Sunday Social, or Southern Sunday Social, because everybody's just having a good time sharing food. And so Good Time cornbread was what we came up with.
And that was a really good one. You know, I was looking at different pictures of the dishes while we were talking, and it's, you know, there's something to be said for going big. Like you're going for $100,000 in cash and prizes and the title of World Food Champion in your first year. Really, in your first year of hitting kind of that professional cooking. Like you're still so early in with going to turning in finals for culinary school and everything else. You went big, but you went with plan. You were very methodical in that plan. I remember seeing plot charts about how everything was going to be, and tweezers were pulled out, and there was such precision in the planning. It is easy to see how you guys really came out, you know, and just took the food sport world by storm. So what's next for the Culinary Code?
Yeah. So I'm going to be trying to partner up with Kitsch to try to do some live streaming to start kind of growing my social media presence and get more practice with live streaming and being in front of the camera. And then I'm also going to be staging at a few different places, trying to learn a few things before the next competition in November. And so I'm just going to be learning as much as I can. I'm going to be looking up cookbooks, like maybe doing online classes or something like that, just trying to grow as much as I can, so that way when I go into the competition later this fall, I can be ready for it.
Are you guys going to do any other competitions leading up to World Foods, or are you just going to put everything back into the World Foods?
It's kind of open-ended right now. I mean, if an opportunity presents us, like I know my school has been trying to get me into a few of them to go along with our school team, but other than that, like we're just trying to keep it open-ended until November hits.
Nice. Are you guys have you decided to go back into the chef category, or you're going to try a different category?
So they actually removed chef and recipe category this year, and so we're going to be trying out steak this year.
That ought to be interesting. We look forward to seeing, because like I said, steak is, again, it's one of those proteins like quail. It's all about precision, because you cannot overcook it.
Mm-hmm.
It's almost Steak is almost worse to overcook than to undercook. Like, it is just an abomination to overcook a good steak. And there will be a good steak at WFC, that is for sure. Where can everybody follow you and what you guys have going on?
Yeah, Instagram and all my other handles, I'm at the Culinary Code, and I'm just basically posting things about my food journey, like what I'm making or what's going on with my family, like what we make together, and so it's just kind of like a update of what I do.
Awesome. And guys, if you haven't already, bookmark worldfoodchampionships.com. Make sure you check back regularly because that's where those registration dates are. The online cooking competitions that will be coming up. Learning to be a judge during the EAT methodology classes. That is huge. Whether you're a competitor, a fan, somebody who wants to judge at some point, find your local EAT class, take it, and you will find you have a leg up on the competition. Also, follow the World Food Championships on Facebook and on Instagram and also on Kitch. Just like Preston mentioned, Kitch is a new food platform that is all about video, and it is all food. You won't see crazy dances, no funky music, just cooking from some of the best in the world. And of course, the World Food Championship is front and center. So give us a follow, and remember, share out the podcast because sharing is caring. And this has been another great episode of Food Sport Central, the podcast of the World Food Championships. And we were excited to have our new, reigning, undisputed World Food Champion, Preston Nguyen, on with us. Thank you again, Preston.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
Absolutely. And guys, we will see you next time.